One of my favorite adages, quoted elegantly by Rabbi Jonathan Sachs: the Jewish people are not a people of probability. We're a people of possibility. We need to have hope. We have to remember that there always is hope. We have God on our side. And I'd like to share with you 3 biblical stories that remind us that we need to have hope even in the most strenuous and difficult of situations. Story number 1. The story of Hannah, the mother of Shmuel. Hannah was barren. She had no children. She was in a lot of pain. All the other ladies were having children. She felt lonely. She felt isolated. What is my purpose in life? What's going on here? She went up to the Mishkan, to the tabernacle in Shiloh. She went into the Mishkan and she started pouring her heart out to God. She started whispering to God. The Kohen Gadol Eli came to her and says, Hannah, what are you doing? You're drunk. She was accused of being drunk. She looked ridiculous. She says, I'm not drunk. I'm pouring my heart out to God. And I'm praying for a child. And she prays that, number 1, God give her a child. Number 2, God give her a righteous child that she's going to dedicate to God. And sure enough, she gave birth to the famous prophet Shmuel, Samuel. Now just take a look at this story for a second. She prayed for something that made no sense scientifically. It didn't seem like she was having children. It wasn't in the stars. She even prayed for something that made no sense spiritually. She prayed for a righteous child. You don't get to do that. Raise your kid properly. And hopefully they'll be righteous. You don't get to put it on God. You got to do it. Yet, she was hopeful. Her prayers came from a very, very deep place. In fact, many of the laws, traditions, and customs of prayer that we implement today are derived from this story of Hannah, to teach us that we have to be open to the greatest of possibilities when we pray. Story number 2. The prophet Hezekiah was ill. He was sick. He was good friends with Yeshayahu, with Isaiah. God tells Yeshayahu, Isaiah, please go visit Hezekiah. And, you got to visit the ill. It's an important mitzvah. Yeshayahu comes in. And Hezekiah says, Yeshayahu, why is God doing this to me? Why is this happening to me? Now, normally when people ask why are bad things happening to good people, avoid the question. It's not our place, right? We can't justify people's suffering. But in this situation, Yeshayahu, I guess, felt comfortable telling him the truth. And he said, the truth is you did not engage in procreation. You were supposed to. And this is what's happening to you. He says, I didn't engage in procreation, but I had a valid reason. I saw through prophetic vision that my descendants were destined to be evil, and I didn't want to bring that into the world. Yeshayahu says, no. You do your part. You bring children into the world. You do your best to raise them properly, and God does his part. You don't get to play God. He says, okay, I'll try to make it up. I'll procreate. And, you have a sister that's unmarried. How about I'll marry her? Yeshayahu says, no, bro. You're ill. You're sick. You're not marrying my sister. He says, what do you mean? We have a tradition that one should never give up on prayer. And that if one has even an iron sword at their neck, and it seems like it's the last moments, they can't stop praying. There's still hope. There's always hope. When we have to believe that there's always hope. Story number 3. Avraham Avinu, Abraham, our patriarch, discovers God, fights for God, battles for the truth, and risks his life to share this truth with the world. And God says, Abraham, I'm going to make you into a great, powerful nation. You're going to be the father of the Jewish people. You're going to enter the land of Israel. And Abraham says, God, that's beautiful. I'm honored, but one problem. I'm 75 years old. I have no children. God tells Abraham, come outside your tent. What do you see up above? He says, I see the stars. Your children are going to be as numerous as the stars. Now, commentaries ask an interesting question. Abraham was a smart guy. Why the analogy? It doesn't seem like it's adding anything. Just tell Abraham, you're going to have a lot of children. Why do you have to say, see, Abraham, there's a lot of stars. There's a lot of people. You're going to have a lot of children. What's the purpose in that? When it comes to a very deep concept, and if you're explaining it to, maybe a child, you say, see, there's a lot of stars. That's how many children you're going to have. You want to give them a concept of how, big numbers. Shouldn't Abraham just understand that there's going to be a lot of children? So here's what commentators explain. The word that the Torah uses is habeit shemaima, gaze toward the heavens. There's different words for gaze. You could say look, you could say see, you could say gaze, you could say gander. There's different words for looking. The term habeit, which means to gaze, commentaries explain, anytime that word appears in the Bible, it connotes looking top down. You're not looking at somebody, you're not looking up to somebody, you're looking down from above. Look at the heavens, look at the stars from a place of above them. Look from above the stars. You are above the stars. Maybe it's not in the stars for you to have children. Maybe it's not in the heavens for you to have children. But you, Abraham, need to look from a higher place. And Abraham did. And Abraham had children. We as Jews have to have hope, and we have to raise ourselves above probability and look from a place of possibility. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.